So I'm Samuel John from Kwame AI. I'm standing in for the CEO, George Jojo Boateng, and Kwame AI is an AI startup founded by Ghanaian citizens, Jojo and Victor Kumbo. And the startup is all about creating AI tools that would democratize coding education and also assist knowledge workers in being able to get insights from their documents. So we have a couple of products that I will be introducing as time goes on. Yeah, like he has already introduced earlier, I will be talking about bridging the AI skills gap in a bit. So I can remember while Dr. Moore was making the presentation, he mentioned some things about AI specifically that I would also repeat for emphasis. Then I'll take it up from there. So PwC Global has predicted that by 2030, in 7 years from now, a total of $15.7 trillion would have been added to the global GDP. And by so doing, 50% of the jobs that we have currently on the African continent that does not involve AI would be replaced by a factor of 2. So for every loss of a job, we'll be having new AI jobs in a factor of 2 by 2030. And that is because AI is currently causing a disruption by the reason of the fourth industrial revolution that we are all experiencing. And that is to increase the productivity, to automate some jobs, and to create some new jobs. Unfortunately, we have a number of issues we are grappling with on the continent. Africa has the largest and the youngest workforce in the world. We have like 600 million young persons as at 2021. And out of this number of people, we only have just 10% that are digital literate. Only 10% actually leave school with basic digital skills. And that's not good for the continent at large. And that's one reason why we are still not doing well in the AI space. So let's now talk about the adoption of AI in Africa as a whole. Far back in 2021, there was a total of $2 billion invested in tech. 48.3% of that amount of money went to fintech startups. And only 4.4% of that went to AI startups. We only had like 14 AI startups recognized by the survey back in 2021. So this has in a way affected the contributions to the AI space generally from the African continent. We have a very low funding for AI startups, and even Africa countries rank lowest in the government AI readiness index. So this index is just like a metric trying to measure how ready the government of several countries are, how ready they are in adopting AI tools in public services. So as a beginner, there are several training opportunities that could help bridge the gap. And like I said, I'm talking on behalf of my company, Kwame AI. So we saw the need that there are 682 million smartphones that will be on the continent by 2025. And only a few percent of high school leavers have access to their own personal laptop. So there was this innovation program bootcamp we used to hold in Ghana far back in 2017. So we realized that only 25% of the attendants had access to laptop, and 100% of all of them had access to smartphones. So we just saw the need that, oh, this is a gap that needs to be filled. What about we creating a coding course that can be taken all on a smartphone in a fun and interactive manner? And that's what gave birth to this code app that we have on Play Store. So currently we have 2 courses that will introduce beginners to programming. We all know that there's no way you can talk about you contributing to AI without having good coding skills. You can be consuming AI, but you might not be able to build one. So if you want to build AI tools, you have to acquire some basic and fundamental coding skills. So that's what gave birth to we creating 2 courses. The first is a course that will introduce a beginner, someone who have never written a line of code before, in a fun and interactive manner. And we've been running several cohorts every year, and the experience has been quite amazing. So we realized that students who have never written lines of code are able to learn how to code all on their smartphones. And there's another machine learning course that we have in the pipeline that we are hoping to get started on next year. So I think somebody asked the internship, the gap between machine learning and artificial intelligence. And I can remember Dr. Moore answered that machine learning is just a subset of the very broad artificial intelligence. So the goal is for us to also do the same thing we've done with programming by just creating a basic machine learning course that people can take all on their smartphones. And that will be possibly out, depending on accessibility to some resources that we are waiting on by next year. That's for beginners. I'll also be talking about some intermediate opportunities that will train students on the continent in order to bridge the AI gap. So I know that everybody must, I'm assuming everyone of us will be familiar with the National Science and Maths Skills Ghana, the NSMQ. We all know about it. And we realized that, oh, this is a quiz that is kind of structured in a way that if we could have an AI that could compete in that quiz and win, then that AI could be our own version of ChatGPT on the continent. When we have, we all know that ChatGPT is like an all-in-one, in quotes. I do not mean there are some things that it can't do anyway, actually, and there are some other new models like the multimodal model from GPT-4. So the goal is that we want to build an AI that will be able to compete in the competition. If we're able to achieve that goal, then we'll be able to deploy it to smartphones. For example, a student in a rural area in Ghana could just call a toll-free number like, oh, hi, Kwame, can you please tell me about photosynthesis and the conversation will just keep on going like that. That is because there's a model behind such AI interactions. So at first glance, someone could think like, oh, what's there in building an AI that will be able to compete in the national science and math skills? It might sound like easy. It is not easy because there are quite a lot of technical challenges attached. So there's a need to curate a lot of data, like Professor Moore also said earlier. There's a need to process the data. There's a need to develop the web app. There's a need to create a question answering tool. There's a need to also create a very good speech to text. And like somebody asked the other time where he was asking if the Ghana NLP model could do this, because the mistress does not speak into it when she's reading the quiz questions. She speaks with a particular kind of accent. So there's a need to also develop a tool that will be able to do automatic speech recognition, also and also do a text to speech conversion too. So it's an open source project with an Apache 2.0 license. I can remember Dr. Mo also mentioned something about the license, and anybody anywhere, all that you just need to be able to contribute to this work is just a basic Python skill. If you already have that, you can definitely contribute, and that would be another great training opportunity. By you doing that, you'll be able to acquire the necessary skills for you to be able to build useful AI products. And lastly, there are some AI initiatives in Africa ongoing. Dr. Mo has already talked a lot about Ghana NLP, so I might not need to mention all he has said. He has already talked about the work they are doing, which is a very, very good work that is laudable. There's another organization called Massakin. So they are also a community of NLP researchers. So these are for experts, so to say, people who are in academia or in the industry who are really doing a lot. They could join any of this community and also contribute to their project. It will also strengthen what we are trying to achieve on the African continent. We don't want to be left behind like we were left behind in the third industrial revolution. Now that we're in the fourth industrial revolution, we are expected to also put our hearts together and also move the continent forward through AI. Also, there are a couple of conferences about AI that goes on in Africa. There's this deep learning Indaba that happens annually. It's a week-long event where several researchers all across Africa come to present their work. And there's another Indaba Hex that happens just a day in person. And yeah, it's a community of researchers and developers in the particular committee. And lastly, there's a new workshop coming up that I'll be talking more about shortly, where you can also attend to see what has been done in the AI space on the continent. So yeah, there's this new competition that's just started that will be starting this year. It has not started. The date is still like it should be like next week, Friday. So there's this competition called Africa AI. So it's just a workshop about Africa, about artificial intelligence in education. So yeah, this is specifically about the question somebody asked the other time where he was saying that, oh, how is AI in the educational space? So we are going to be running a workshop next week, July 7th, where we'll be doing a demo of the work that has been done in so far by the NSMQ team. So most of the team members that we have in so far are high school students in Ghana. Some of them are even on this call. They are guys, they are people that have probably not worked on a large scale project, but because they are ready and they are willing to take up the challenge, they are building cool stuffs progressively. So they'll be presenting their work next week Friday. So definitely if you are available and you're in Ghana, you can also catch up with them. Yeah, I'll be concluding by saying this, that the pen is mightier with AI. Together, we can write a future that transcends boundaries, solve grand challenges, and empower every individual. Thank you.